Hey everyone, about a week ago I demoed off an application that I created called SpecVerify. Now, I'm in the final stages of putting this all together, tying up the ribbons and whatnot, but you know, it's going to be ready for release soon and I'm pretty excited about this. Now, why am I excited about this? Well, let's just say that I kind of wish I had something like this when I was drafting out an IQ, OQ, or PQ. Because I think when I'm using something like this, it can serve as like a sanity check for myself to keep me in line, to make sure that whatever steps that I'm thinking of can be done properly by a testing team. And let's say if someone wants to see the progress of what I'm doing. Oh, hey Dean.
Hey.
Sorry guys, my son just wanted to be in the video, but let's just continue on. Well, let's just say that if someone wants to see the progress of, how are things going with drafting out the IQ, OQ, PQ, well, I can always show them a completed document, but
Happy
sometimes,
birthday to Daddy!
okay, Dean, go play. I can always show someone a completed document to show them the progress of how things are going with the generation of those IQ, OQs, or PQs, but there's no context given to those documents. They just see a list of steps and expected outcomes, but to me there's no real context behind there. So with a tool like this, you generate the report, you can see why steps are passing, why some are failing, and there's now also a section there to allow the tester to leave comments. So let's say if a step does pass, maybe the tester has some comments in there to help make it a stronger step, or if it fails, they can provide more context on why it failed. And I'm thinking, with this in mind, it can also lead to more productive meetings. Let's say, for example, you get into a meeting, you have your subject matter expert there, and you have your QA team there. Instead of having to rehash everything for them and explain everything over and over, you can at the very least give out a report like this before the meeting, like a day or two before, so everyone gets on the same page. And from there, you can have a more productive meeting and have better consultation with the team versus waiting. From there, you can have a more productive meeting, and your subject matter expert and your QA team, they can provide better guidance or consultation on, where to take things from there. Instead of me just talking about this, I think it's better if we flip the camera and take a more detailed look.
Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in. Today we're taking a more detailed look about the application that I created called SpecVerify. A little bit about the current setup right now. Obviously here you can see that I have the SpecVerify application opened. I'm working off of my Ubuntu computer today, and I'm remotely connected to a Windows computer. I did it like this because I think this is a very common scenario in the testing environment where you have your tester using their own laptop, and then they're connected to the machine that they're testing on. Now, before we get too far into this, I wanted to show you the protocol that I'm working with. This is a quick protocol that I just drafted. And here I try to make it look more true to life. With a lot of these IQ, OQs, and PQs, normally you're not going to just see the steps as is alone in that document. Usually there's some kind of fluff or introductory information, and then you start seeing the steps. So here I put in a scope and an objective section, and then we start getting into the steps. So it looks like the first step in the test is bringing up the Windows Services Management Console and then showing Windows Update. And then our next step is to open up PowerShell or a command prompt and run an ipconfig all. Then we bring up the Task Manager to show the logical processors, and then we go to a specific path in regedit. Essentially, there are just 4 steps here. Now, the reason why I'm showing you this is so you can see how SpecVerify just takes those steps and ignores the rest of it for testing purposes. So if we go to upload our protocol, alright, we go find the one that we're working with. And here you can see current step is 1 of 4. We saw 4 steps in the actual protocol, so we are good to go. Alright, let's go ahead and go on to the first step, and that is Windows Service Management Console. Alright, so there it is, and we're double clicking on Windows Update. Let's go ahead and try to verify that step. Now you probably noticed that the SpecVerify window disappeared for a second, and that was intentional. That way when it captures the screen, you don't just see that window in all of your screenshots in the generated report. Alright, so it looks like this step passed. Now, although it did pass, I'm going to put a comment in here just for future reference so we know that we can improve this step later on. We should consider including details about the startup type and service status. Alright, got that done. Okay, so now we're launching an administrative Windows PowerShell or command prompt to run an ipconfig all. I'm just going to go with the regular command prompt here. And let's go ahead and verify that step. Now a note about how the AI works here. I don't collect or train any models for AI. If anything, I don't own any models to begin with. This is a bring your own key model. What that means is that you bring in your own API key from your AI vendor. Now, if you already have a service level agreement with them and you've already agreed that the vendor will not train their models on your data, I think you're good to go. I mean, if this is only if you're actually concerned about this. I know some companies are, some are not. But if it is a concern for you, definitely reach out to your AI vendor. I myself, I don't train anything since this is a bring your own key model. Alright, now it looks like this step has passed as well, but I'm going to leave a comment here. Why would we need administrative PowerShell? Alright, next step, bring up the task manager. Alright, performance, get a good look at the logical processors. Let's verify that step. Okay, this is registering as a pass as well. I'm not going to leave a comment here. Alright, the last one is to go to regedit. Okay, is this the path we want? Yep, this is the path we want. Let's go ahead and verify this step. And we're also passing here. Alright. Now you notice that when I was going and clicking on verify step, you saw a flash, you heard a camera noise. And not every operating system will do that. It does that on my Ubuntu computer because by default, that is how the screenshot app works on my setup. But when I was testing SpecVerify on Windows, there was no white flash or any camera noises or anything of the sort. That's just because by default Windows does not do that. Okay, since we're technically done with testing, I'm going to minimize that. And I'm going to generate the report. Now, when I click on generate report, you're going to notice that there's screenshots in the report. but when you try to go through your computer and look for the screenshots that were taken, the screenshots are automatically deleted, and that was intentional as well. And that's because I know if you're doing this kind of work on a day-to-day, seeing your screenshots folder just grow and grow and grow, it's very easy to get lost in all that data. So this is more like an auto purge cleanup thing, just to keep things tidy. So let's go ahead and generate our report. I'm going to call this report 12. Okay, so we have our report generated. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at it. Alright, so here you can see in this report, we see the date of the execution, system platform, that is my computer, and this is the dry run. Step 1, looks like it did pass as we saw earlier. You notice in the screenshot that SpecVerify window is not there. So I could have had this more of a full screen view of the remote desktop, but I just wanted to clearly show everyone that, you know, it can analyze a remote a computer that's remotely connected as well. And there's my comment. See, now this is what I'm talking about. If you walk into a meeting, let's say with your subject matter expert and your QA team, instead of having to rehash everything to everybody, you can always send people update reports like this, even well before the meeting comes. So when you do have your meeting, you can have a more productive meeting. So your team can, whether it's your subject matter expert or your QA team or whoever else is involved on this, they can provide better guidance or consultation on where we want to take the protocol. And even if you see a step that failed here, this is to help you draft your IQ, OQs, or PQs and ensure that you have a good dry run, a good protocol overall before you do anything official. Now right here we also pass. You see my comments there as well. Why would we need administrative PowerShell? Okay. And we can always zoom up even closer. Then you can start seeing the date and time. Originally I created this. This is not really going to replace your electronic signature system. Like I said before, this is meant to help in the drafting process before anything official gets put out. That way people can see the details on why something passed and why something failed. And then your testing team has a chance to leave comments there to explain why something failed, or even though something passed, if something can be improved. But that is what the report looks like, and to me this is a thing of beauty. Definitely wish I had this when I was drafting IQs, OQs, and PQs. Now, if you like what you see, that's great. I'm excited about this, and if you are as well, feel free to just get in touch with me. Alright, you guys have a good day. You guys take care of yourself.